Have you ever tried so hard to control your thoughts that they only became louder? Have you ever tried to let go and realized you were trying too hard to let go? That's the paradox Alan Watts beautifully called mind over mind. The harder we try to control the mind, the more it resists. The more we chase perfection, the more chaos we create within ourselves. Alan Watts once said, "Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth." And that's exactly what most of us do. We chase self-improvement so aggressively that we forget the essence of growth, grace. Real improvement is not about forcing change, but allowing it. It's not about dominating your mind, but understanding it. Think about this: when you watch a river flow, you don't shout at it to move faster. You simply observe it. You trust its direction. The same goes for the mind. It flows naturally when you stop forcing it. Watts reminds us that grace is not something you achieve through effort. It's something that happens when you relax the effort. In our world of hustle and endless comparison, we have turned self-improvement into a competition, a race against time, others, and even our own reflection. But what if growth isn't about adding more pressure, but releasing it? What if peace comes not from conquering the mind, but from befriending it? The paradox of control lies right here. The more you try to control the uncontrollable, the more control you actually lose. The real mastery is in surrender, Watts said. You can't get rid of your worries by worrying about them. Instead, he taught that awareness, quiet, calm awareness, is the key. Self-improvement begins the moment you stop trying to fix yourself and start understanding yourself, because grace doesn't come through struggle, it comes through flow. And in that flow, the mind doesn't fight itself, it dances. So, the next time you find yourself overthinking, forcing, or trying too hard to be better, remember Alan Watts' timeless wisdom: don't push the river, it flows by itself. The real transformation happens not when you control the mind, but when you finally allow it to be. That is the power of mind over mind. True self-improvement doesn't come from forcing control over the mind. It comes from understanding and allowing it to flow naturally. We live in an age where control is seen as power. We want to control our habits, our emotions, our time, and even our thoughts. But the more we try to dominate the mind, the more it rebels. It's like trying to keep water still in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips away. The mind is not meant to be chained, it's meant to be understood. Alan Watts once said that the mind is like the sea, full of waves, constantly moving, never silent. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf. In the same way, you can't stop thoughts from coming, but you can learn how to move with them gracefully. Forcing the mind into silence or perfection only creates inattention. Real peace begins when you stop fighting with yourself and start listening. Understanding the mind means observing it without judgment, without labeling your thoughts as good or bad, right or wrong. It means watching them come and go like clouds passing through the sky. When you try too hard to control the mind, you disconnect from its natural rhythm. You create resistance, and resistance always creates pain. The harder you push against your own nature, the more you suffer. But when you allow your mind to flow, something magical happens. You begin to notice patterns, feelings, and desires not as enemies to be defeated, but as parts of yourself asking to be understood. You realize that your thoughts are not you, they are just visitors in the space of your awareness. True growth is never achieved through pressure, it's achieved through awareness and compassion. When you force yourself to be calm, you create more anxiety. When you try to be perfect, you become more flawed. But when you simply observe what you are, your habits, your emotions, your fears, you create room for change. Change doesn't need force, it needs space. It grows naturally, like a seed turning into a tree when given light, water, and care. We've been taught that self-improvement is about control, controlling your reactions, your mindset, your discipline. But control is often rooted in fear. You try to control because you're afraid of losing yourself. You fear failure, rejection, or chaos. Yet, in trying to escape these fears, you strengthen them. When you let go of control, you begin to see that the mind has its own intelligence. It knows how to heal when you stop interfering. It knows how to create balance when you stop resisting. Understanding your mind means giving yourself permission to be human. It means accepting that some days you'll feel lost, some days you'll feel strong, and both are okay. The flow of life includes both light and darkness, both order and confusion. The beauty of growth lies in embracing this wholeness. Alan Watts often emphasized that life is not a problem to be solved, but a dance to be experienced. You can't dance if you're too focused on every step. You have to feel the rhythm and move with it. When you stop forcing control, you start discovering harmony. You start to realize that peace isn't something you achieve. It's something that emerges when the noise of struggle fades. The mind becomes clear not when it's forced to be empty, but when it's allowed to breathe freely. You no longer chase calmness, you become calm by letting things be. Self-improvement, then, is not about constant striving, but about gentle awareness. It's not about suppressing your emotions, but understanding their message. It's not about conquering your mind, but cooperating with it. The real transformation happens when you trust your inner flow, when you allow your thoughts to move, your emotions to rise and fall, and your life to unfold without unnecessary control. When you live in alignment with this understanding, your energy shifts. You stop wasting effort on fighting yourself and start using that energy to grow, create, and live fully. You begin to act from clarity, not confusion. You begin to feel light, not burdened. And slowly, without trying too hard, you evolve into the best version of yourself, not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. The paradox of control teaches us that real peace and growth begin when we stop trying to dominate our thoughts and start embracing them with awareness and grace. In life, we are often told that success and peace come from discipline, from mastering the mind, and from keeping everything under control. But the more we try to dominate our thoughts, the more restless our mind becomes. The harder we push for control, the stronger our inner resistance grows. It's like trying to hold back waves with your hands. The more you struggle, the more you realize how impossible it is. True peace doesn't come from control, it comes from understanding. Alan Watts beautifully explained that the mind cannot be forced into silence or perfection. It must be observed, not oppressed. When you try to suppress certain thoughts, they return even louder, demanding attention. But when you observe them calmly, without judgment, they lose their power. Awareness is not about control, it's about acceptance. Grace begins when you allow your mind to be what it is: chaotic, noisy, emotional, curious, without labeling it as wrong or weak. This paradox of control is one of life's greatest truths. We spend years trying to control our emotions, our circumstances, and even our destiny, only to realize that peace begins the moment we let go. When you stop fighting against your own mind, you discover something beautiful, a natural rhythm, a quiet intelligence within you that guides without force. This is grace. The effortless balance that appears when we stop interfering with life's natural flow. Trying to dominate your thoughts is like trying to control the wind. You can't stop it, but you can learn to move with it. The same is true with your inner world. The mind is meant to flow, not freeze. Thoughts come and go like waves, and your role is not to stop them, but to watch them with awareness. This awareness is the key to growth. It turns confusion into clarity and chaos into understanding. When you stop identifying with every thought, you begin to see them as passing clouds in the vast sky of your consciousness. Real growth is not about silencing your thoughts, but learning from them. Every emotion, every doubt, every fear carries a message. When you meet your thoughts with grace instead of judgment, you begin to understand yourself on a deeper level. You start seeing that not every negative thought needs to be fought. Not every fear needs to be erased. Some thoughts simply need to be acknowledged, because awareness itself is healing. In trying to control our mind, we create tension. In embracing it, we create peace. Grace doesn't mean weakness. It means strength in surrender. It means trusting that you don't always have to fight to be in control. Some of the most beautiful moments in life happen when we stop trying to manage everything and allow things to unfold naturally. When you stop dominating your thoughts, you make space for clarity, creativity, and understanding to arise on their own. Alan Watts once said, "Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone." When your mind is full of chaos, stop stirring it with worry and control. Sit quietly. Let it settle. Over time, the water becomes clear, not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. That is the paradox of control. When you stop forcing, you find freedom. When you stop fighting, you find strength. When you stop trying to be calm, calmness finds you. Peace and growth are not rewards for discipline alone. They are the outcomes of deep awareness. Control is about fear. Awareness is about understanding. When you embrace your thoughts with grace, you stop being their prisoner. You become an observer, a witness, someone who experiences life without being consumed by it. The mind may still produce storms, but now you stand in the middle of them, untouched, knowing that they will pass. The paradox of control invites us to shift from resistance to acceptance, from domination to understanding. It reminds us that the mind is not an enemy to be conquered, but a companion to be understood. When you embrace your thoughts with awareness, they begin to lose their chaos and reveal their wisdom. This is where real growth begins, not in control, but in connection, not in suppression, but in surrender. And in that surrender lies the grace that makes peace possible.